There's a moment when you're faced with a challenge, and just solving the problem isn't good enough. We accepted that challenge and pushed well beyond all expectations. Even if that means breaking the rules and shredding apart all conventional ways of thinking, all in the name of creating something truly remarkable. We started by developing next-generation brushless tech, which produces the most commanding propulsion ever with supreme efficiency. Fabricated with aerospace-grade titanium for the ultimate in durability, it's engineered with such precision that it has moved beyond stealth. All guided by state-of-the-art advanced GPS navigation modes. We removed all worries with built-in compound fail-safes for unstoppable reliability. And it's painstakingly crafted to last all day, every day. All backed by our continued promise and commitment to be there whenever you need us, no questions asked. With this much control at its command, we didn't stop with just one. We created two incredible trolling motors. Introducing the new Power Pole Move brushless trolling motor.
We're late, but we're here. Thank you for your patience this afternoon. There's a bit of a fitting ad there for the Power Pole Move. Steve, care to explain a little bit why we're running a little bit late today?
Well, 100% odds would have been it would have been me. About an hour and a half ago, I left Troy White's place up at Min Repairs and Servicing, where we were screwing in and plugging in and getting wired the Power Pole Move onto my Bass Cat. So, been a big day today. Was up at Tommy Woods early on. We were cleaning the boat up, cleaning up a bit of wiring, getting ready to go, and then we got down to Troy's, and man, he is meticulous when it comes to putting that thing on. Every hole is stone ground and lovely and vacuumed up, and much better job than I would have done myself, Troy. So thanks very much for that. I left there up on 4 wheels, 2 from the car, 2 from the trailer, and raced down here. But then the internet made us late, so thank God it wasn't me. You did well, Nicole. You're good under pressure. You don't panic in tournaments. Then you finally got it here. We're putting modems together and trying to eat dinner. And anyway, we're here. Got prizes. Got stuff about tournaments. Got stories. Got all the stuff that all you guys love. So been a big, as always. The calendar didn't look like it was going to be too big last month, but it was a big month.
It has been. We've been as far as Gladstone.
Since we last saw you, Gladstone Brims happened. Yep. Chris Lonnie just back-to-back in it. Like this year, how many we've had Taka win double events, Healy, me, Chris Lonnie.
Maddie Langford in the Bass.
Maddie. So this is the year of the double winner. None of you triple one yet. What's wrong with y'all? We might see it by the end of the grand final. Again, I was having a chat, and this is a bit off topic, we're going to get to a while, chatted to Liam Carruthers during the week, who was the sneaky last boater into the grand final. And interesting, they only had to offer 3 replacement places for 3 boaters that didn't come. So
that's for the BREAM Grand Final?
For the BREAM Grand Final, and I was talking to him and saying, you've already won this before, and didn't you win last time you were the last in? And he goes, yep, Clarence River. So he's hoping to be the first person to win a second BREAM Grand Final, because no one's done it yet. And I think we've got 4 or 5 past grand final winners in the field. So every year we say, oh, this is the year. And I know Mario Vukic's going to be trying, Chris Hickson, I'll be trying, Liam will be trying. There might be, I'm sure there's a few more in the field there that are going to have a crack at Port Stephens. So interesting times. But also, BREAM Gold Coast happened on the weekend. How good was it? Stevie Wilson got up after over 2 decades of trying. He's got the whole set now.
He got quite emotional at the end. That always gives me the feels when you see just how much they wanted it, and then when an angler just holds up that trophy, very cool.
He dead set. I think he's got the full set of badges twice over from 2nd to 10th.
He had a double donut badge he gave you too.
He did too, and
Full
you know,
set.
getting rid of that really sort of helped him. So well done, Steve. It's no, look, it was great to see. It was great to see so many people at that weigh, and like all of the, like I reckon everyone stayed around that wanted to congratulate him for that feat. So there would have been 50 or 60 people, competitors, spectators there at the weigh-in. Given the wizard a pat on the back, and that full interview up on the YouTube site, you can read how he did it. He went in to win, and he won. So good on him. I love it when a plan comes together. So, so as I said, BREAM Grand Final field set. We do have a graphic on that. No, we don't have a graphic on that one.
No.
But I can tell you that in the first run of invites, I just messaged everyone to say, "Are you going to take an invite if I send it?" 56 out of 60 said yep. And at the moment, that's 29 out of 30 non-voters, and the 30th one may confirm yet. It may be literally if you didn't make the cut in the first round, you're not even going to make it, unfortunately, for the guys who are just on the bubble.
But it's been really cool this year just to see just how hungry the BREAM guys were to make that grand final and make the effort, travel to the events, and just it was really cutthroat at the end there to be part of that grand final.
And of course, we used to have a grand final field of 40, but in history I've never fielded a 40-person grand final. So we thought we'll take it to 30, we'll make it a little bit more exclusive to get in. Everyone that's going is going to have a 1 in 30 chance of winning something awesome, either the amazing tackle shop prize where you get like a tackle shop's worth of gear, or that boat, Mercury, Alloy Craft trailer, I think Garmin package in the BREAM this year. So everyone wants that. Mario Vukic, you're going to be there. You've already won one, so you might have another one to add to the collection. So the only boaters that couldn't come, Brad Hodges, Alex Griesdorf couldn't get over from WA, and Steve Wilson, who of course was pre-booked on his oceanic cruise with the missus before the event even. So he knew when he finished he couldn't take it. So the ones that were on the bubble and made it in were Christian Wardini, Cam Whittam and Liam Carruthers. So well done, guys.
And none of those guys needed convincing.
I was like, do you want to go to the grand final? They're like, yep. Send the invite, I'm coming. So, and look, Port Stephens, a central sort of location near Sydney, so it seems like whenever we have those central locations, we get a lot of takers when it comes to the invites. So,
and those invites should be going out next week, so keep an eye out. We've been working with Andrew Stubbs, a local in the area, has given us some great leads. So we've got accommodation sorted for you guys, we've got a briefing venue, we've got a weigh-in location, so just putting those last puzzle pieces together, and that invite should be hitting your inboxes next week.
And you're cooking everyone dinner, aren't you?
Sure.
At one venue. Cool. I'm cooking it with the checkbook, so we'll buy everyone dinner for that
Comes in
briefing.
a box with Dominoes on the top.
Yep. It's going to be classy. It's not going to be Bannisters, but it ain't going to be Dominoes. It'll be somewhere in between. It'll probably be some of the Bolo's finest cuisine. So.
Yeah, so just working out the menu, and those grand final invites will be headed out next week.
So there you go. The green on this is the people that said yes, and there's a lot of green sitting on them sheets. So that was one of the projects this week. Also getting that power pole move put on there. I haven't put in the water yet, but ooh, I want to go fishing soon and get that thing wet. Pretty classy. Power pole, great ABT sponsor. Dropping power poles, of course, on all of the ABT Grand Final boats. Of course, when the qualifying season's over, we've decided some BREAM Anglers of the Year. So Taka Kawasaki actually had that wrapped up by the end of Gladstone, but there was going to have to be a bit of a, Jamie McEwen was going to have to really stack it at the Gold Coast, and someone else had to pull a miracle out of the pocket or even attend the event to get there. So we finished up with the non-boater AOY list.
Non-boaters first, all right.
Yep. So non-boaters, run us through who got the gold.
Yeah, like we said, Tucker pretty well had that sealed up at the end of Gladstone. Just Pip and Lance Marsh at the post there. I know they were going head-to-head up until Gladstone.
Early season leader Michael Sametz just sort of, I think, lacked the number of events at the end of the day to keep him up there, and the fast finishing Marshy and Taka just sort of overcame Michael. But Michael, great effort to put in to get to all of the events over here and to represent WA. Plenty of WA guys in the grand final because of it, and he's one of them. So.
So that's the non-boaters, and then looking at the boaters as well. So, like you mentioned,
Jamie McEwen.
So Chris Hickson was leading that AOY race just before we went to the Gold Coast. So unfortunately, he couldn't make it to that event, which kind of just cleared the path for Jamie to walk on through.
And look, it was a funny year as boater AOY because, I told Jamie, I said, Jamie, look at that, 470 points for first. That's probably one of the lowest totals ever to win AOY. But look at between first and second, it's another, nearly 30 points. that's probably the biggest margin anyone's ever won by. So it's been a really weird year where no one's dominated all year, but Jamie was always up there, and his 5 points that he had were like 90, 92, 94, 96, 98. So I have that table here. Yep. So look, all 5, 4 top 10s and what's 90, 90s? There might be 5 top 10s. Anyway, great finish, Jamie. Good to see another Queenslander with their with the name on the AOY trophy. We were trying to think when it was like, why do Queenslanders do all right in AOY? Probably because they travel a lot. They like travelling. We're not afraid of travelling. You look at the top 10 in AOY, guys like Harry Schofield are in there, Sam Peck, Blake O'Grady, Jamie and I, we all love, we don't mind going to Victoria to travel. So, our passports let us go wherever we like in Australia. So that's probably why there's a lot of Queenslanders up high, because we're not scared of the price of petrol. In fact, when we travel south, every bit of petrol we buy is cheaper than Brisbane.
We want to travel.
Yeah. So well done to look that's a pretty thick AOY table up the top there. Wally Fay was the unofficial statistician of AOY coming into the second day of the Goldie. He said, you need to catch this and I need to catch that, and then I'll beat you. And it's like, wait. Don't wait till the end, Wal. We'll just work it out what happened then. And sorry about that, Wal. You ended up 4th, but better luck next year. We know we'll see Wally there. He's super keen supporter of ABT, and great to see guys like Al Murray up the top there as well. Al had a great event in Gladstone, where he came back really solidly on the second day up into the top 10. Guys like Paul Langley, Brett Crow. How many miles does Brett Crow do with us?
He does everything. Yep,
top 10 finish there, and Harry Schofield rounding out the top 10, one of the young Queensland guns. Well done, boys. Good effort for this year. So the BREAM Series has had some great participants this year.
And don't forget too, in the non-boaters, we got Bill Bland, who actually took out the Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah.
For this year, he's priding himself. He reckons he's the oldest angler to be the first time season winner.
In his early 60s, isn't he, Bill? So he's going to get that set of duff rods there presented at the grand final, and I reckon his investment's paying off. I reckon to get that couple of $1,000 set of rods probably cost him about 10 grand, but. Well done, Bill.
Yeah,
well
Bill's
done.
over in WA, for those of you who don't know Bill. He's been to every East Coast event, excluding the Gold Coast, so he has travelled far and
done
wide
the miles.
this year.
That's right. So well done. Good to see the WA guys getting involved. So I was down in Sydney last week doing a bit of work with Daiwa, and while I was there, I thought, let's knock out a quick live segment with Tommy Slater, who's in charge of all things product development at Daiwa. So we got a bit of a sneak peek of, and maybe a little bit more of a deep dive into some of the stuff they released at AFTA. So let's roll it. G'day, Steve Morgan here, down in Sydney actually, an ABT live field trip. We caught up with the guys from Daiwa at the trade show. Young Tucker showed us through some of his new hard bodies, but I thought we'd take the opportunity down here to catch up with Tom Slater. He is the chief designer of all things Daiwa and ABT related, because you've got some BREAM, Bass and BARRA stuff that we need to maybe go a little bit more in depth to. Some of the specifics about the massive products that you launched at AFTA.
Yeah, we certainly did. We launched a whole heap of stuff at AFTA. New rods for the BREAM guys, some new bait junkie shapes, new jerk baits for BARRA, heaps of new reels. So yeah, there's plenty to cover off. And some of the products, of course, you won awards with. That J-Braid Expedition line, which I assume is on that reel there, won the Best in Show for line, but also won the People's Choice for line. Really interesting to see how those awards work. When the retailers vote for it, it's a certain mix of products that come through, but when the public vote on it, it's a different mix of products that the people like, and you guys are the guys that got to vote on that. So Daiwa did well in both fronts. Yeah, no, we were super. I think when we got the list through for the People's Choice, we'd won 6 awards and runner-up in the soft plastics. So yeah, super stoked that the public seems to be resonating with the stuff that we're bringing to the market. So
let's work our way from cheaper to dearer.
Yep.
Probably don't like those terms because nothing's cheap. But new bait junkie colours. Bait junkie being a staple for Daiwa now. Like every tackle store I walk into has plenty on the wall, and there are several models that ABT guys love, like the bloodworm colour, the UV, the grubs. The minnows that I love rigging weedless.
Yep.
But you've got some new iterations here that are going to, I reckon, turn some heads in the tournament ranks. Tell us about them.
Yeah, so a couple of new shapes. So we launched 4 new shapes, but probably the 2 that would appeal most to the ABT guys is the new 295 flick. So kind of our version of a single tail flick bait, but doing a little bit different. So that kind of, we call it a shovel tail on the end. because that kind of flick bait style fishing, you really want a nice glide on the sink, which is kind of what we were after, and that wider profile tail kind of catches a bit more water and sends that lure on a bit of a glide down to the bottom.
And these are designed for hidden weight systems or for jig heads. What sort of jig head are they designed to fish with?
Yeah, so very, very light jig head. So I like fishing them on a 1/30th bait junkie head, really light. So I think we were down in Victoria this year for the Gippy tour. Had a day to go and fish ties and tamboon and fishing them, skipping them across the top and killing them on the edge of that weed. And the big blacks were racing out and grabbing them. So
look very much like a prawn or a little bait fish. It sort of fits that everything's going to eat it mould. Very similar to the I suppose the bait junkie minnow in the past, but really specialised.
Yeah, just I guess getting a little bit more specific to it. So I used to do that same technique with the 2.5 minnow. But the paddle tail eliminated a lot of that gliding kind of motion on the sink. It kind of sunk very straight. What we wanted this to do was to really hunt on the bottom. So.
That's right. You want that search.
Yeah.
Now, it seems like in the same sort of mould, you've got the wave minnow here. Take us through this plastic. Again, very interesting. I love little translucent plastics for bream. I reckon they look like everything that bream eat.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that colour. That was one, that clear gold. Probably quite an old school colour really when you go back to kind of the first soft plastics that became popular for bream. That was a kind of a staple in a lot of ranges.
Oh, I love the gold flick bait. Still, if you've still found some of them in the archives, I tie them on and use them still because there's not much in the market that is that colour. But it looks like you're onto it now, and it looks just like the juvenile prawns, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I think that wave minnow, that's probably become my favourite bait junkie shape now. I've used it the last two Vicky tours, so I had the original samples back in 2021, used them again in 2022. The word was kind of getting out by this year because I had guys coming to my boat asking me for these prototype plastics I was using. Wally Fay, big fan of the wave minnow. I think Tucker was his non-boater this year and schooled him from the back with him. So
he wanted some.
Yeah, he wanted some, and I think they're absolute dynamite on the blacks.
So tell us about why the long tail. To me, that's a longer, narrower tail than I would find on a standard grub. So
I guess what we're aiming to do with this one is we want that kind of hybrid presentation between. Yes, it can appeal as a bait fish, but we also want it to, for especially down in Victoria, fish it almost so it imitates a worm on the bottom. So long, skinny profile, that curl tail that kind of kicks up at the end, which is where the name comes from, wave minnow, kind of looks like a wave breaking. That kick up at the end catches a lot of water very easily and makes that tail, forces it open, elongates the plastic, makes it look really kind of natural like a prawn. Worm, bait fish, whatever kind of thing, and the blacks really seem to respond well to it. But Lake Macquarie ABT this year, that's what I was fishing in the deep. Spot them on live and casting them on the plastic. So
now that your secret's out, you're gonna have to find something new to stay ahead of the pack, mate.
Yeah, no, we're always working on new stuff. So there was another couple of samples I was playing with at Lake Mac. They'll come out later next year. So.
Great. So those available when? When are these going to hit the stores?
They'll be in stores around the middle end of October.
Okay. So not too long away, but ready for the grand final down at Port Stephens. So you two can have the advantages that Tommy's had all year. Let's move up a little bit. I remember testing the first one of these Excellers that you guys released. It must have been when you first released the LT
2017. Yep.
2017. I remember you sent me one, and I put 3 pounds straight through on it, caught a bream. Then I took it to the BARRA tour, and I put 40-pound braid on it, and we caught a barra on it. I thought, man, this reel can do everything, because you did say try and break it.
Yep.
3 pound wasn't going to stretch it, but I'll tell you what, it was bending a little bit with the BARRA, but it definitely survived, and I'm still using it to this day. So you obviously have a remake on the Exceller. Take us through it. Yeah,
so Exceller gets a revamp this year, as do all our reels, to feature air drive design. So what we talk about with air drive design is the new rotor system, so totally redeveloped from kind of the body up, making that top half of the reel physically lighter. Means when you obviously spin the handle, if you can eliminate the weight on this side that's spinning around the spool, you get that really easy free rotation that everyone picks up a reel and goes, oh geez, that feels smooth.
Nice. Yeah.
And that's what we want to kind of work towards with air drive design. So.
And the Exceller's always been an affordable reel. If you want to go pick up 3 or 4 reels that are going to be 100% ABT BREAM and Bass tournament suitable, they're going to do it. And what sort of retail price?
From $169. So I guess from a tournament's perspective, I went through the whole kind of evolution of before tournaments, I had, only exists and more thans and stees, reels and all that. And then you fish your first ABT and you're like, well, geez, I've got 2 outfits. I'd really like 6 or 7. Sold all those and bought Caldias. And so these, that, 169 price point, you can afford to have 10 setups. That's where you might used to only have 3.
You could literally trade 2 of your expensive setups for an entire deck of rods.
100%. So, I think that one should be, that received a really good response at the show. So I think that'll be a real winner for the for
always a good volume reel. People don't often want to spend the big money on it. So you're going to get, as usual, the high technology at Daiwa drops down and you get it for the better and better price
so
points.
I mean, we launched Air Drive Design in Exist last year at $1,200 and now you can get the same tech in $169.
That's great. Take us through some of the BARRA lures. It's we're launching on this live show. We're launching the BARRA Series, which starts up at Tinaroo. You guys are making some inroads into very suitable BARRA baits. I always love looking at a BARRA bait when I look at it and say, you know what? I don't even have to upgrade the hooks. If that suspends with the hooks like that, then you're on a winner. Please tell me they do.
They do. So actually these two, you probably inadvertently played a big part in bringing these to market. So, we were sitting here in the office. We missed the BARRA Tour last year. None of us fished it. But we certainly were watching your live streams and watching you, catch those fish on live scope. And so we had double clutch 115 and current master, which were, probably 5 to 6 foot diving, depth lures for BARRA. But, after we watched your live scope domination at Kinchin, we thought, okay, 100% we need to make some deep diving models. So we put these 2 into the plan and came up with the EXDR range. So these 115 double clutch, that'll suspend out of the box at 12 foot on 80 pound fluoro leader. The current master EXDR in your hand, that'll get to 11 foot.
That's awesome. Because I do remember in that tournament, I was trying to catch one on it and I was saying, it's just a bit shallow. I can just tell it's not getting down to the right depths, and these are going to do it. And look, let me stress how rare it is to get good designed BARRA jerkbaits will suspend straight out of the box with the right hooks on them. No one likes paying good money for a lure and then having to spend more money on the hooks, but then you have to get the combination so they sit right. Like, you don't want them to suspend like that. You want them to suspend a little bit head down. So if you've got that right, and I haven't tried these ones out yet, but if you can do that, there's a whole lot of guys this year, I reckon, they're going to have brand new live scopes, so they're going to want to give them a crack. So
I'd say if you rock up to the BARRA Tour this year without forward-facing sonar, you're probably behind the 8 ball. So.
Well, you know what? I think it's going to go a full circle, because I think some guys, and I was the same, when you get your live scope for the first 6 months, you've got to go through the live scope adolescence, which means that you try to catch every single BARRA that you see. If you see a BARRA and it's swimming off that way, you're going after it. The guys that can focus and put themselves in those feeding zones, like they always do, and they always catch big limits, are still going to do that. So it's going to be a battle between who can focus on what's catching the fish. And sometimes it might be live scope and sometimes it mightn't be. If it isn't live scope, don't expect me to be up top of the leaderboard, because I'll be chasing that BARRA around the lake still. So great to see that you've got some tools that the guys can use, local input into the designs that they can take and give a run. So we'll be looking forward to giving those a run this year. Yeah,
for sure. And there was, we've done some rods and stuff specific to that live scope technique now as well. So there's some new, TD black rods and Tatula rods and Commander rods that were all released at the show as well. So they'll be right up the BARRA guys' alley.
Now, this is the big ticket item for me, is the relaunch. I saw the new models in in-feet. Famously, 3 or 4 years ago, when you made the in-feet range, you rang me up and you said, you know what, I reckon I've got a rod in this range for every single technique that you do. And I said, oh yeah, watch this. And so I wrote down 9 different techniques, and I said, there you go, all of those ones. And he said, yep, this one for that, this for that. And you have literally replaced my mishmash of rods from all over the world that I had for all these techniques. I got them, they're all in a pile at work still, and I'm still using all of the in-feet. So congratulations, you succeeded. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've done with the range, because there were some things that I didn't like about them. One is that some of them didn't have hook keepers on them. And every time I was hooking the lure on there, I'm swearing at Tommy. And the other one was I don't like a non-split butt, because if you've got a bass boat and you put that in and you go through some rough water, a smooth butt will slip out sometimes.
Yeah, slip out of
and
the
these
holes,
ones will sit in there the whole time. So instantly, just by looking at these ones, I'm thinking, oh, well, you've addressed a few of the issues for me. But dig a little bit deeper down, because after 3 years, I've finally learnt the names and models of the old ones, and I'm going to have to relearn these new ones.
So thankfully, not much for you to relearn. It's just we put a letter on the end of the entry level. So I guess we'll start there. So the base model now called InFeet S. There was, one of the things we learn after doing this for so long, you go, okay, well, in hindsight, probably should have put a letter at the end of that one, because everyone says I'm using an InFeet, and then you're not sure which one it is.
Which one?
So InFeet S is the entry level.
S stands for?
Standard, actually.
Standard, okay.
So we used to just, the kind of the colloquial name in the office was the standard range, so InFeet S. $199 MSRP, so it doesn't change the retail price, but again, what we're kind of known for at Daiwa is grabbing that technology from what was in the Z and the EX range and bringing it down into the now the S. So new for the S this year is Nano Plus. That refers to obviously the resin technology in the blank. Using a nano resin means we can basically use less resin in the blank construction, get a physically lighter weight rod, about 5 grams lighter than the previous models. There's not all like for like exactly the same models as before, but where there is, they're about 5 grams lighter. And then little tweaks. So reel seat is from the old EX range, physically lighter than the current one. A little bit more foam on it, a little bit more comfortable. Move the hook keepers to 90 degrees to the side. So when your spinning reel wraps around, it's theoretically very unlikely for the line to get caught under that because of how the line goes in that direction. So, that kind of stuff. Still Fuji Fazlight anti-tangle guides, and then from a action-wise, took the feedback from everyone, yourself and Chris and Cromo and all the ABT guys that have come up to me over the last 3 years and said, I really like this rod, but it'd be great if it was 2 inches longer or a bit softer, a bit faster, and redeveloped some of the models in that line as well.
And I do notice that a lot of non-boaters I fish with on the ABT too come on with the standard, the InFeet rods. Like they're at a perfect price point for them. They can buy 3 or 4 of them, and match them with reels like this. They haven't got thousands of dollars in their hands. They've got $800, and they've got some great setups. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, that and the Exceller that we spoke about before, $350 odd for a combo. Add some braid to it, you got a $400 combo that literally you could get technique specific, catch anything on any lure around the country.
Great. One thing I did learn, that there were 2 colours in the old ones. You had the reds and the blues, and the blues were generally the softer ones. So this is one of the slower taper models in the Z. So this is the mid price point series. So around that mid $300 mark, so around $369 retail. So I guess colour coding of the InFeet rod stays. Red and black is your fast taper, more suited to what we call single hook bait, so soft plastics and that kind of thing. As a general rule, and then blue and white, slower taper or regular taper. These are your crankbait rods, really soft forgiving models. So. Treble hook rods where you don't want to pull them out of their face.
So in the Z series, I guess from a technology point of view, the upgrades, so new graphite in this range now. So basically we used to use HVF Nano Plus, so high volume fibre. We're now using SVF Nano Plus, so super high volume fibre, so just a higher grade of carbon. Means, again, we can use less carbon material to make the rod the same stiffness, again, making the rod physically lighter. And then anytime you can make rods lighter, you make them more sensitive. So the lighter we can make a rod, the more sensitive. You can get some, I think one of the Z models is 65 grams or 66 grams now.
Crazy.
So, crazy light rods. And again, this range probably had the least changes from a model lineup perspective. Everyone kind of really liked the Zs where they were. So there's just a few little tweaks and just perfecting those actions, and things like the old rod had the hook keeper integrated to the bottom grip here.
I hated that.
All the kayakers said, no, that's no good because they stick it in the
in the rod holder,
in the kayak. So again, move the hook keeper to 90 degrees to the left on the top of the rod.
On a winner. And the EX ones, well, it's funny because I'm not a rod snob. I don't like to have an expensive rod, but I find myself using the EXs a lot. Especially there was a 7'5" in the range that you sent me as a stick minnow rod, but man, what a versatile rod that was. I've fished it for all sorts of techniques, and I suppose if you were going to narrow it down to one EX, that would have been the one. So what have we done with the EX? I hope you haven't changed it too much.
So EX has probably got, in terms of upgrades in technology, the most upgrades for the range. So now using SVF Compile X Nano Plus graphite. So that is Daiwa's flagship premier graphite technology. It's as good a carbon fibre as we can make. So again, physically more sensitive than the previous model. We've developed totally new reel seat technology for Daiwa. So this is our introduction of what we call zero seat. Zero referring to the lightness of the reel seat. So made from a carbon composite material, but really focused on this one called the Zero Slim Fit. So very kind of ergonomically designed that when your finger's on the rod, you've got that sensitive part of your finger, whether you're 3 in front or kind of split with the reel, that your sensitive pad of your finger is right on top of that reel seat.
Where there's no
that's
hype on.
got direct contact to the blank. So incredibly sensitive. And then of course our X45 full shield technology, which now runs for the entire length of the blank.
Yep. They are very flash pieces of equipment, and I must admit for the last few years they've been faultless, so I'm looking forward to for maybe dialing some of these fellas in and improving, if we can, the experience. I'm an old dog, mate. I don't take too many new tricks on board, but you did convert me last time, so.
Yeah, so there's a couple of the old favourites, like that 7.5 rod. Still, there's no changes to the action in that one. We've just made it, again, lighter and more sensitive. But a couple of new models as an expansion in the EX range, because generally when the guys are willing to spend over $500 for a rod, they want something very specific.
Yep.
So we expanded the range of EX to cater to more separate techniques. So there's kind of more actions in there now to really get dialed in and go, okay, that's my jerkbait rod, that's my crank rod, that's the rod for sticks, that's the rod for bent minnows.
Yep.
Got it all covered in that EX range now.
Well, I think all of the ABT guys, and look, most of them use the Daiwa rods and reels. You've done the walk around the boats and see how much support that the anglers give the naming sponsor of the BREAM Series. We're looking forward to these rolling out down the track again. I reckon that the users love the fact that their feedback's taken on board. You go to a lot of the events, you talk to the guys that use it. You don't just dismiss all of that, say, no, I've already made the perfect rod. You say, I can improve this. I'll do this and this and this to it, and this is what comes out. So I think, well done, Daiwa, for listening, and the rods look great, and we're looking forward to the feedback that we get on the water. So thanks, Tom, for joining us on ABT Live again. We love field trips. We love a bit of exclusive access to the man that makes it all happen. So thanks for joining us on Live.
No problem. Thanks, Ben.
Every sunrise is a promise. It's a celebration of what's to come. Memories waiting to be made. And adventures to be had. Each new day is an open invitation to live beautifully. Make every day more beautiful with Maui Jim.
We're on.
Oh, just asking if there was another ad coming on, and you go, nope, we're live now. All right, we jumped the gun a bit. We didn't have any competitions earlier on, but we got plenty of comps. Basically, going to give away everything on this table apart from your laptop, and maybe not these until Lake Sinclair. But we got a few comps tonight. Firstly, some of you have jumped the gun. Where are you from? Got a great pack of BARRA stuff from Atomic, so one of their reel baits that we have often on the show, some of their hard bodies here. There's a deep and a shallow hard body, good for big flatties, BARRA, stuff like that, and an Atomic hat. Tell us where you're from, and that's a pretty easy one to become in the draw with. So Nicole picks someone randomly at the end, and away we go with that. Secondly, speaking of stuff that was launched at AFTA, like in the Daiwa story, the guys from Rapala did a really cool launch of their Crush City plastics. And that's all happened since the last show, and already non-boater at the Gold Coast and Mick Horn of the Bass Electric on the weekend have won tournaments on the Rapala Crush City plastics. So one of the cool things about them is they are named cool. They're cool names. What are they called? They've got a sample pack here that everyone got at the Gold Coast event with one of each in there. What are they called, Nicole?
We've got the Creeper, we got the Suspect, we got the Heavy Hitter. There's the Imposter and the Jerk.
And apparently they all stand for the code names for the guys in the Rapala office. I said, who's the Jerk? And Timmy goes, it's me.
I know who the Creeper is.
But no, apparently, who was the Jerk? He was the Creeper. Maybe Mick Horn was the Jerk. Anyway, it's all fun and games there. But we thought we've got some Crush City plastics to give away. I've got a big handful. I'm not going to give all of these away, but big handful for the person who can think up some new Crush City names. So, and I'm sure the Rapala guys will troll through that, and if they pick one of your names, I'm sure they're going to give you more than just a couple of leftover Gold Coast packs. So, Crush City baits, that Suspect was the one that did really cool at the Gold Coast. My non-boater Peter Clark tied it on the first day. He didn't care it was a bass lure. He caught brim on it, brim after brim. And that colour there was one Mick Horn.
That's the one Mick Horn caught.
Yeah.
That stonking giant big bass at Hins on the weekend.
2.99 kilos. It's on the front page of abt.org.au. Mick went and took the money off everyone down there with that giant. I think his 2 fish were just under 5 kilos, and Hins fishing pretty well. But the suspect is the one. And as they say, when they catch a big one on it, I
crushed it.
So you too can crush it. They're in tackle stores now, but tell us some new names for the Crush City plastics. More than the jerk, the suspect, the imposter, the creeper, or the heavy hitter.
Or the jerk.
I read them on the back as well.
Yeah.
So we have some of those to give away. Final competition for tonight, and there's 3 you can enter. You can enter them all straight now if you like, in Facebook, in YouTube. Throw it in the comments. At BARRA Tour, and we're going to talk about the BARRA Tour in a while and the BARRA Series, we have a costume party, or a party each year, a themed party. We've had Cowboys and Indians, we've had Mexican night.
Well, it started the first year with
Hawaiian.
Just wear a Hawaiian shirt, we told the guys. It's easy, simple, just find your Hawaiian shirt in the back of the cupboard.
There were coconut bikinis everywhere, weren't
there? The can of worms was opened.
Yep.
And it's just
so it's a thing now. It's a thing. So this year, party theme is...
Superheroes.
So there are going to be some superheroes that have probably had a few cans under the tree in the afternoon attending that party. And Wilson's at AFTA this year, they had a superhero-themed party, or info, or I don't know what they call it, piss up, at the before AFTA. So we've got a story with Troy Dixon, Dicko, from Wilson's later on. What superhero should Dicko dress up as to come to the party? Dicko wasn't much of a dresser-upper in the early days, but lately he has been revving it up like a chainsaw, and he will turn up there with bells on. What superhero, and you can't say the Hulk, because you know that Dicko looks like he just can smash things. So, can't be the Hulk. Just, what's Dicko going to be? Maybe Wonder Woman might be funny.
Oh.
Anyway, we have a great Xerec pack there with some of the flat shads, the live mullets, some swim baits, some of the venom stick baits, all of the stuff that you would get if you, say, went to an Australian Open. We've got a pack of those Xerec ones there. So, where are you from? Tick. Crush City, new names, tick. What should DK dress up as? Tick.
You know, I was doing a bit of research, looking for decorations and the like for party night this year, and I found the perfect sign for the bar. It's very on theme. It says, "With great beer comes great responsibility."
Ooh, yes.
Channeling a bit of Spider-Man
Bit
there.
of Spider-Man. Maybe DK Spider-Man might be the lycra. All right, so that's cool. The next event, look, Crush City, Crush That Bass tournament on the weekend. The next events are Bass. We've got an interesting race for AOY. As always, it's every year it's Catch Langford. See how Maddie's going. Just had a message from Maddie this afternoon. He and Mitchell Cohn were up on Kinchin.
Ooh.
Trying to channel their Morgo and catch some suspended barra on livescope, and they said the water was too cold, but I said their skill level was too low. That's probably what they were suffering from. Couple of country New South Wales and country boys going to catch the bazzers. You need more than one afternoon of practice, boys. So better luck by Friday. But anyway, they're trying to catch Matt in the Angler of the Year race. Have we got a graphic for the Angler of the Year for bass?
We do.
And the boaters, let's start with. So let's start with. There's some entry lists I got here. Here we go. Matthew Langford, 394 points. He's had 2 wins and 2 fourths this year. Mick Johnson started off actually better than that. He had a first, a second, a sixth, and then a 12th. Mick put the wheels back on that track, have a couple of good events down in the Hunter, St Clair and Hunter River. And Mick, you might be able to catch him. Braden Shue consistently up there, 90 points, 90 points, 90s, 90s, 90s. And I think him and Matt are the only 2 anglers that have got like 90 points plus in each event. So Braden has a couple of good events there, and the other guy's wheels fall off. Who knows what can happen? This is New South Wales events. Some New South Wales anglers sneaking up behind there. Guys like 40, he sort of lives in the Hunter Valley now. Going to be an interesting race. Let's look at the non-boater side. Now, Heath Kimber might be sitting at home clearing off shelf space for where he's going to put the AOY trophy. But and although he's got 3 good finishes there, he's got an 82-pointer there as well. And you look at guys like in 10th place, Paul Mazzaroli. He's got 196 points, but that's only from 2 events, Nicole.
Yeah, Tim Jones sitting just above Maz as well. He's got 198. He's only done 2 events, so...
And both of those guys live within a couple of hours of the next venue.
And they're both on that entry list to do the next 2 rounds, so it's going to be interesting.
So, yeah, Heath, you're in a good spot, mate, but don't get the trophy polish out quite yet. I hope you go to those events to try and lock down that title. As always, Angler of the Year titles are sort of for pride. If you've got an AOY trophy, you've probably won some good prizes during the year. So everyone wants that cool trophy to have on their mantelpiece at the end of the season. So 2 really interesting races going on there. We have the Bass Electric Angler of the Year race happening as well. Young Harry Hardman leading that at the moment with 285 points. He's got a 98, 100, an 87 and a 78. But in the Bass Electric Series, the grand final counts towards AOY. Don't know why it ended up that way. Probably has something to do with Joey Urquhart working something out back in the day.
He needed a grand final to take
He might
it
have
out one year.
he might have, Joey. No, you're listening to it. He's just finished making the Bass Open trophy as well that we might see maybe on the next Lockdown Live show.
Yeah.
So anyway, that rule is in there. I might have to extinguish that in future years so we can sort of know before the grand final who it is. Like, that's another spreadsheet we're going to do on the weekend. But anyway, Chesley Lennon, 1 point behind him, 284. 1 point behind him, 283, Tyson Everly. 1 point behind him, his brother Bo Everly, and then 279 points, Sean Ezzy. So look at that top 5. They're within 6 points of each other. So 100% that Wyalong event in another month or two's time is going to play a big part in deciding who is the AOY winner there. And don't listen to any rumours you've heard. We aren't moving the grand final dates. We've got a permit, we've got approvals. If someone's moving, it's going to be the rowers, aren't they?
That's the plan. Working with SEQ Water.
Go row somewhere else.
Yep, go row on another day, not on
And to
our
be
day.
honest, it looks like SEQ Water agrees with us. It's like, you told us to go that date, we are going that date. You can't just go and row your way through someone else's program. Love rowers, not on a fishing day though. Anyway.
Stay tuned, but as of right this second, Bass Electric Grand Final.
As
Still
planned.
that 14th, 15th at Wyalong in October. It's going to be good.
There you go. So a little stats, heaps of stats. Thanks for all that, Nicole. Took you hours to do that this afternoon. I ploughed through it in 5 minutes. I think, do we have a cool little bit of Crush City vision that you can show us before we come back to talk more bass with Justin from TT? Did a field trip up there during the week.
I want to talk about the website first.
Okay, go.
So a little side project we've been working on the last 6 months, updating the ABT website. We did a bit of a soft launch from it a few weeks ago. Just before Gladstone, we had that soft launch.
Yeah.
Key things was making sure you guys at home could all see those scoreboards no matter what device you were looking on. And I think we've ticked those boxes now. So if you get a chance, if you haven't already done so, you can jump over abt.org.au. Here's a quick sneak at the new website there. You can see Mick Horn's giant bass from the weekend there.
Or half of it.
As our cover story right now. We've got all our recent stories happening there. You'll find all the usual, all the stats.
And scroll down and show all that stuff for new people. If you're sitting in the crowd thinking, should I do an ABT event? I did lots of homework and wrote a big ass story about everything you need to know in order to fish an ABT event. So, you want to start yourself an ABT event. There are ones for Bass, BREAM, BARRA and Bass Electric. So, looking good. I'm just bragging I did my homework for that one.
So you'll find all the series are there, all the calendars for the events, all the info sheets are all sitting there. Everything you need for ABT, abt.org.au. All looking fresh and new and modern and revamped and just nice and clean.
Best 10 grand we ever spent. Arguably. Anyway, if you find that scoreboards, etc. don't work on your stuff now, I want to know that because I'm going to get back to the company and say, look, you got to fix it. But it's been pretty good, actually. Had feedback from the Daiwa boys down on the weekend that were watching the Gold Coast round and the Gladstone rounds, and it was all sort of pretty flawless from their end. So thanks very much for all of you beta testers out there. You don't know you were doing it, but you were, and it seems to work. Even my old man, Sweet Pete Morgan, sits in his chair there watching the live stream and he's flicking through the scoreboards and they usually never work. It's like you don't know how to run a company, your scoreboards don't work. And it's like, it was only his phone, and some other people have the same model phone. So should all be working out, and Sweet Pete is happily scrolling through results.
Keeping him busy
Probably
on
now.
your fishing weekends.
So sponsor for the Sinclair round of the Hunter Valley Bass rounds that we're doing is TT, and went for a field trip up to see him in North Brisbane and caught up with Justin, who is 100% even more energetic than me when it comes to being excited about tackle. So let's see what he has to say about some of his cool new AFTA stuff and product that he thinks you need to take to Sinclair.
So I'm here at Tackle Tactics on the north side of Brisbane, and we caught up with these guys, Justin especially, at the AFTA trade show, and awesome to see all of you public out there enjoying TT's products. But I thought we better have a little bit of a detailed look of some of the products for the upcoming TT round of the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series at Lake St Clair. And Justin, Lake St Clair, it's a favourite of all the New South Wales anglers. That Glenbourne, St Clair, that Hunter Valley is just like Bass Central in Australia, isn't it? And it's exciting round to sponsor.
Yeah, I know it's a favourite for anglers, and big fish get caught there and that sort of thing. So I know our guys are pumped to fish it, and there's some great products here that we can get into the hands of the guys to get hooked up, hopefully.
Yeah, well, we thought we'd take the opportunity to have a bit of a specific look at everything that maybe you'd recommend and that you might have a look at when you're gearing up for this event. But I was just contemplating on the way in that right now, under this roof, you can actually get anglers everything they need to fish this event, from rod, reel, line, leader, lures, plastic, scent. You got everything now, haven't you?
Tools, tackle storage. Yeah, we're getting there, slowly getting there, and we're developing a lot more products under the TT name as well, because it is our own brand, our own products, so we can make sure they're up to what we want. You know, all those tournament angles and that sort of thing. We're developing products that are suitable for them as well as the punter.
And I suppose that's the thing to note, is that the TT is different from Tackle Tactics. Tackle Tactics is the company. This brand is TT, and I was pretty excited to know that your TT braids made under this roof as well. Like, you're the only company, I think, that makes them in Australia.
Yeah, right here at Tackle Tactics. There go our mascots up the hallway. Right here at Tackle Tactics HQ. So we do make line in-house, and that's the new TT React braid that we have developed for the tournament guys. So it's an 8 carrier braid. It's a colour infused fibre, fine diameter, long casting, nice smooth slick braid. So we've developed that for our tournament guys.
Well, since we're talking about that side, take us through the leader, quality Japanese fluorocarbon.
Yep. So we've developed it. We've come up with a fluoro to go with it. So that's 100% Japanese fluoro. Excellent optical clarity for in the water. Good abrasion resistance, knot strength, all that sort of thing. So unfortunately we can't make fluoro here. We choose not to make fluoro here. So we've sourced a Japanese fluoro, quality Japanese fluoro, and the guys get more fluoro for their dollar as well. So it's a good one for the tournament guys and for the punter.
Now let's go through some of the baits for St Clair, and these are under different brands. You know, you obviously distribute the Z-Man plastics here, the original super stretchy, floaty, catch everything, plastic. And I remember the days when you brought your first ones in, and tackle stores were a bit tentative. Now there's a lot of blue walls around this country.
There is, yeah. There's some great range, good support from stores out there, and we spent the first year or two going,
Yep.
Look, it's different. And then anglers started to understand the benefits of it, that the natural buoyancy that brings it to life in the water, the durability so you can catch more fish, and also so you can rig it different ways and rig it over and over again because of that durable material.
Now, the theory was that if you made an indestructible plastic, you wouldn't sell that many of them but fish make sure that people need to stock up, and you turn heaps over.
Yeah. And also, I know for me, like, I've caught 50 plus flathead a bunch of times. I've caught tons of BREAM bass, whatever, on one plastic. But it starts to look a bit daggy after a little while. So, we do change it up. We lose a few, all that sort of thing. Plus, it means we can buy more and more colours, more and more styles. We can have an awesome collection of Z-Man as well.
So let's go to St Clair, and you're fishing St Clair. Tell me what you've got on your line, because you know what sells down that way. You know what the gun baits are.
Yeah. So these are popular items in that area, and they do sell really well. And they're products that people have done well on in the past fishing St Clair as well. So for me, it's very much a plastics bite quite often down there, and it's natural coloured plastics and dark coloured plastics. A lot of fishing over the weed and around the weed. So an ST Grubs 2.5 inch slim swims.
Yep, they look just like the smelt.
Swims. Yeah, so those are three popular ones: 2.5 inch slim swims, 3 inch slim swims, and 2.5 inch ST Grubs, and 2.5 inch Grubs, the standard model as well. But that's a good one for whacking a bit of scent in there and that sort of thing as well, and more subtle action than a standard 2.5 inch Grubs. So there are a few that I would start with, and in those sort of natural bait fishy colours and darker colours like the Houdini, bloodworm, bad shad, baby bass, those sorts of classic colours that the fish like to eat.
I know that small baits are a thing down there, especially because they're focusing on small bait fish. I don't know if you've seen the smelt down there, but they're sort of tiny little gudgeony looking things. So all of those tiny clear plastics. Geez, the Slim Swim's made a name for itself in Australia, hasn't it? Salt or fresh water. It seems to be something you must have in your kit.
Yeah, I think you pulled a big brim on it in one comp as well.
Oh,
It's won a few comps and done well on a lot of big fish. Won a lot of bass comps as well early on as well. So it's definitely a go-to. And I guess when we're fishing those natural sort of colours and that, we want to pair them up with some natural-looking small heads, fine wire hooks, and that sort of thing as well.
So take us through this. Like, we all used to be trusted with painting our own jig heads with that the heat the jig head up, dip it into powder style thing, but you do it for us now, and let me say it is a better job.
I've seen a few jobs the guys have done out there. Some are spectacular, some not so much, and some guys just, they've got other things on. They don't want to be painting heads, so it saves them time and that sort of thing as well. So the Headlocks Finesse UV jig heads on a Gamakatsu hook, the guys love those. And there's a bunch of colours. There's a black and there's a bloodworm and there's a motor oil. So there's a lot of colours to match those plastics as well, especially when you are going super natural like that. And a lot of the guys I know over and around the weed will fish that 1/8 ounce sort of head.
Yeah, you don't want it sinking too quickly. And if you want to up your game on the heads, the multicoloured with eyes, take us through these ones, because these are definitely a good looking jig head as well.
Yeah, so that's the Demons jig heads. The bass guys love those Demons jig heads, and they're up to heavier sizes. So when they move out on the flats, when those bass are around that 20-foot mark, the magic 20 foot, that's some nice natural colours there as well, and some good contrast colours that they can use, with a 1/4 ounce being popular when you get to sort of that 20-foot bass mark.
I know that when I make up beetle spins, these are the heads that I go for, because they're just that slightly stronger hook, a little bit heavier, and you can really control that rate of descent.
Yep, spot on. They are slightly heavier hook, and also a lot. The eye is a good strike trigger. And the interesting thing with these as well, when you fish them in the water, they've got a tapered head design with an eye on each side, and when that plastic swims, it actually catches the light, and you'll see the head flashing a bit in the water as well, which I think is a good strike trigger without being too over the top.
Was that a on-purpose design feature, or something that just happened when you started swimming it?
Yeah, it was predominantly the head shape was designed because you can swim some fairly large paddle tails on these tiny little heads, so it was to help to keel the plastic a little bit, so it didn't want to roll. And so just from fishing it though, I've just seen I can see why fish eat this. You see bait flick in the water, and then you see your head coming back. Looks exactly the same.
So you understand why they eat it. So take us through some of the bladed options, like we talked about beetle spins there, but that little bit of flash sometimes turns the fish on, especially in clear water impoundments like St Clair.
Yep, where the fish have a fair amount of visibility and that sort of thing. So we've got the super subtle options, but if the fish are a little bit fired up, or you just want to cover a lot of area and try and find active fish, bladed options are fantastic. So a jig spinner is always a good option. So a jig spinner attached to your soft plastic just gives it that bit of flash and vibration without being overpowering. And another option as well is the Revlocks, TT Revlocks jig head, underspin jig head as well. So that's a way that we can add a bit of subtle flash and vibration to our soft plastic presentation and fire up those fish.
And I think it's really cool because you can actually do this customization on the water. If you say, well, that's the colour bait fish, they want a really small blade, they want this weight head, bang, you pull it out of the kit and you make that there on the spot.
Yeah, that's right. And also you can mix it up a little bit more because there's also nickel, so silver blades in the Revlocks range and also in our jig spinners. So when it comes to that clear water, sometimes anglers will switch to that silver blade as well. Early morning and late arvo, they might run the gold, and then when it gets a bit brighter and that, they switch to that silver. They can cover a lot of water. They can draw fish in from a long way away.
Moving across the TT, the Switchblade, it's been it must have been around for 15 years now, that product. You must have sold millions of those things.
The Switchblade's been very, very popular, and for a while there, that we saw, it's probably the most copied lure in Australia, the TT Switchblade, and we're starting to see all those copies disappear because it's easy to make something look the same, but you've got to make it swim. And this thing, a lot of work's gone into making it swim on a super slow retrieve, but also if you want to rip it, if you're fishing weed and that sort of thing, it doesn't blow out. So it's build wise, it's great, and also it's a super realistic looking baitfish profile. So for down there St Clair, that silver minnow is popular, matching the baitfish, and then those other natural baitfish colours as well is effective, with the 1/4 ounce really popular in that 20-foot mark for chasing school bass.
Let's move on to the reaction baits. The first grand final we ever ran at St Clair was in the early 2000s, and Simo won it. on a spinnerbait. And you guys have been, again, making spinnerbaits. It was one of the first products that Tackle Tactics back then ever released. I remember the old TT spinnerbaits, and they were taking over for some of the imported ones. The original player is still out there.
It is. The Vortex is still, we still sell loads of Vortex. We get lots of requests for Vortex. And the reason being quality components and that compact frame design and just a thinner profile skirt and the stinger hook are on there ready to go. So that Vortex, if the fish are fired up or if you've already got your bag and you're looking for a big one, that Vortex is a great option.
I think that would cover nearly every angler that wants to have a crack at winning that Sinclair round of the ABT. But there are a few other products you released at AFTA that aren't in tackle stores yet. I want you to take us through and show us maybe a little bit more detail on some of these other launches you've done. So let's head to the table.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, so a few new releases there are on the range. So the Switchblade has had a facelift. So that is the Switchblade Plus, owner hooks, a stack of new cool colours, lots of UV colours in that range as well. So 3 sizes in those guys as well. So they're going to be popular for sure.
Are they different from the normal Switchblades? Are you going to have those 2 ranges in parallel, or are the Switchblades all morphing now to this model?
We'll have the two ranges running in parallel, and we'll let the punters decide, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what people think. But there is some great colours across the ranges, and we will probably gradually move into those guys there. And there's 3 sizes as well. So from brim to bass right through to bigger stuff and that sort of thing as well.
The assist hooks blade, it seems that everyone's had one in the range, but you're finally there now. And they look a little bit different from the standard assist hooks blades. Tell us why you've got that pointed tail on them.
Yeah, the switch prawn, a lot of work went into that in terms of prototyping and testing that product. And the differences, I think, are in terms of where the weight is situated and how the weight sits. It actually seems to vibe at a lot slower speed. So you can really, really fish it and pulse it slow, right, without leaving the strike zone, if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you can rip it and it still doesn't blow out and that sort of thing. It's got a couple of toe points so you can vary the action on it. And those, super sharp, sticky assist hooks, owner hooks on there. So, deadly little critter. And the nose on it, when it's vibing and moving, it actually moves more water, creates a different vibration. Yeah. So, there's lots of guys out there with prawn-style vibes in their kit, but that's going to be another option that fishes differently and has more action to it,
Now, when I was editing the AFTA video that we did, you made a comment there I didn't pick up until the edit. You said this is going to shake up the industry. What did that mean? The quake. And I got it then. Earthquake, shake up the industry. Tell us what you were getting at.
Yeah, that is going to shake things up a bit, that vibe. It's been... We've had tons and tons of interest in it already. The pro team guys are pumped on it. Can't wait to get the photos and videos out there. The guys are absolutely smacking a stack of different fish on them. That particular size is going epic on the bass. So the bass guys are loving it. You can see some good bass colours in there as well. But it's got a full tail on it, not just the 2 little bits. It's got a full tail, but because it's got a solid stainless steel frame inside the vibe, it actually gets a really aggressive shake up that allows it to move that full tail. So it creates more vibration in the water.
Well, it looks like a different bait, and no one can accuse TT of resting on their laurels. You've got a heap of new baits you released at AFTA. We filmed you at the start of AFTA. How was the public day response? You guys looked like you were mobbed.
Absolutely brilliant. It was great. We had the UV bench set up there as well with a lot of those new lures lit up as well, which really got people over to have a look at them. They were pumped on them. And feedback on the Quake, brilliant. Feedback on the Switch Prawn Plus, love it. And then the Switchblade Plus, people already love the Switchblade, so it was great. So lots of people there pumped. We had people there choosing favourite colours already, which is always a good sign. It's been great. We've got a lot of orders already in the system ready to go. So as soon as those things arrive late September, they're going to be on their way out to stores. So buckle up, get ready.
Well, we've got ABT's very own Keegan Painter there. He's going to be taking a little bit of a selection of this down. So if you see Keegan at Sinclair or at the Hunter Round, you want to catch up with him, he will have some of this secret stuff. Don't know if you're going to be able to wrangle some off him. He likes being tackled.
Yeah, Keegan's all over this, so go and have a chat to him for sure about that gear. Yeah, hopefully you guys can keep it there for people to have a look at. It doesn't end up in his boat straight up.
Well, we'll wrangle it off him. Thanks for having us up here for ABT Live. We love coming up here and checking out what stuff you do. We love the fact that you make a lot of the stuff here in Australia, the platypus lines, your own lines now. Keep up the good work. I know you're a busy man today. You're off to the BCF conference to check out the big boys.
Yep. So we'll go up there and have a bit of a look, and then might go and let the hair down after and BCF conference and go and hit the muster and have a bit of a look at that. So hope you guys get stuck into a few. Check out those products. They'll definitely do the job for you at Sinclair there, and stay tuned. Going to shake things up. Fish on.
Mechanical lid keeps your drink upright, accident free, and icy cold.
We're back.
We are.
What do you want to talk about?
Go through the comps again, please.
I'm tired.
You said you wanted to do some segments. There you go.
I didn't. All right, where are you watching from? Don't forget, we've got the Atomic prize pack there. Some awesome Barra / flathead gear in that Atomic prize pack. So let us know, where are you watching from tonight? We have the Crush City. Crush City range, awesome. Names like the Creeper, the Suspect, the Jerk, the Imposter, Heavy Hitter. Let us know what the next model they should add to that range should be. Think of a really cool, funky name. We've got a few packs of Crush Cities coming your way. And then down the front here, we've got some awesome Barra stuff, thanks to the crew at Wilson's Fishing. It's all superheroes this year on Barra Tour. What should Troy Dixon, aka Dicko at Wilson Fishing, what should he dress up as for superhero party night this year? And you could score yourself that Barra gear thanks to Wilson's. Speaking
of Dicko, we caught up with insert superhero name here, Dixon, at Wilson's only last week. Checking out a little bit more detail what they had going on at the tackle show, because every time we went there at the trade show trying to catch up with them, they're too busy the whole time. So we did a special segment for them. Check it out here. Remember, who's Dicko? What superhero? Oh, plus they got stuff. Here it is, another ABT Live field trip, and we've caught up with Dicko from Wilson's. That's the only stand that we couldn't get on at AFTA. I tried 3 times to get on with you guys. You, Cord, Boothie, always busy talking to either retailers or the public. And we finally come to head office to check out the swathe of new Barra stuff that you released there, mate. How was AFTA? It was busy, wasn't it?
It was crazy. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts, to be honest with you. Probably one of the busiest ones I've had, and I wasn't there a lot of the time because I was taking some of our overseas guests to try out some of their new lures that they brought.
So wait a sec, we're all slaving in the pavilions at AFTA, and you're fishing still.
Yes.
So we came here to the head office today. What was the chance of us catching you here? Like, you're not fishing today. What's going on?
No, not
feeling
fish.
crook or something?
No. Believe it or not, I actually do
have to work
a fair bit of time here. So a lot of people think that's all I do is go fishing. No, it's not like that. So.
I would perpetuate the myth, mate, because I reckon I believe it.
Well, you do go fishing a lot.
Let's go to the AFTA products though. Obviously, all the people were on the stand not just to pat you on the back and say well done for fishing 300 days a year. But they wanted to see some of your products, so yes. I thought we'd take this opportunity on the live show to go through maybe in depth for you guys, because we missed you at AFTA. So I want to start with your small school of Barra here.
Yeah,
they got bone written on the heads.
Yeah,
and,
they are the bone Barras.
They're crazy. What do they look like in the water when they swim?
Mate, they are so lifelike. They just got that nice.
So straight wind? Are they just a long
straight wind? They just swim along like this.
What about when you chop them? They got a bit of a when you.
No, they'll twist on their side, hang sideways, and then you tap it again, and they'll come back the other way. They're really cool like that.
So the thing about Barra is, and I know this because for my university degree, I grew 2,000 Barra, and they quickly turned to 1,000 Barra when one Barra kept on eating the other Barra.
Yeah.
Very cannibalistic, aren't they?
They are very cannibalistic. Now these things are they are how Barra are tough on lures. So we've tried to, in cooperation with Bone, we try to make these things really tough. So he's been catching a lot of P&G bass and things like that on them. So they are built full wire through.
Yep.
You know, even though it's joined by a wire, but they're all, you know, everything's joined together. They've got a system on the bottom here where you can actually add a chin weight to it, and you'll see the hangers. The hangers are really heavy duty hangers.
So a sinking bait?
Without any weight on it, it will float.
Okay.
So you can add weight to it with the hit, and it'll come down like a glide bait. But the way it is now, with no weight on it, you can pull it down and it'll come under the water like so, and then it'll slowly float back up.
So over the top of the weeds for a start, and then weight it to suit if you want to target a fish in 20 foot deep.
So the whole idea of this, if you're, you know, especially in the dams, if you're fishing on that weed edge, you could bring it off the edge of the weed, work it off the edge, and get to the edge, and then just dead stick it. It'll just slowly glide down. So.
That's cool, but that's not the only little swim bait that you boys released.
Yeah.
I remember this was my pick to win best hard-bodied lure of the show, and it got pipped. I was pretty pissed about that. I normally know what's going to win by looking at it, but the little Affinity, mate. I remember Cord won that tournament at Kinchin a couple of years ago. Yeah. Throwing the big brother of this, but the small one, mate, that looks pretty edible.
Yes, it is. 3-jointed one, this one, so it got a little bit more action than the Barra.
Yep.
So it really, like on a straight retrieve, it's got a good, you know. This one's pretty unique, but we've got an integratable. You can actually take the weight off it.
Yep.
So you just turn that there, and then that just pops out like so.
Right, that's pretty cool. So, and that can go on and off as many times as you like. It doesn't weaken.
No. And with the way it is with the weight off it, when it sits in the water,
shark fin.
Just the two little fins, and it's like so cool across the top.
Yep.
But then if you work it down with the rod tip down, you can actually, it'll come under.
Yep.
And you can get it really to do some really big sweeps of the rod. So really cool. Again, heavy duty hangers and stuff like that. So, you know, they're going to be ready to go out of the packet.
160 mil this one?
Yeah, 160
That's what it said on the card at AFTA. So, and I think the guys that are fishing dams that haven't got bait that's like, you know, 25 centimetres long, this is going to be a lot more edible for those school-sized fish, I reckon.
Well, you see those dams, how many garfish and things like that they got in them. So, you know, so...
Is am I doing that the right way? How do I get that back on?
So you can go... No, you're going the wrong way.
I'm going the wrong way.
So you just clip it in there like that.
Oh, yeah, clip it in.
And just turn that. She's ready to go.
That's pretty easy, actually.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. When are they going to be in shops before BARRA Tour?
At this stage, they'll probably be for the Mackay rounds and stuff
for
like
November.
That.
They'll be in stores.
So, same with the Barras.
Okay. So hit up Tackle World Mackay when you're at the briefing, and they'll load you up.
Yep.
All right. The brand that you've picked up during the year has been Duo.
Yes.
We've had the Duo sponsored Gladstone Bream round, catching a few fish on the little jerk baits, but this is the other end of the spectrum.
Yep.
Duo is good at making baits for big, strong fish.
They are.
And I remember catching plenty in Kinchin on these, not this version of it, but that Duo jerk bait in that 80mm size. Boy, that's a bit of a killer.
Yeah, so that's the Fang Bait 80. So that's only just been released this year. So
right. What was the other one? Was it a bigger bait? It was
100 mil Fang Bait, yeah. So this is the 80. So dives down to about that 3 foot. So you know, it gets down there. But the good thing about this is you can actually put a set of decent hooks on it. Yep. Because at that stage where it's there now, it's a floating lure, but you can put a decent set of hooks on it. So I've been putting a size 2 on the front and a 4 on the back of like these mustards.
Yep.
And it just hangs in there really good.
Okay, so it suspends nicely with the right hooks on it.
Yeah, and you'll notice with the Fang baits, they've got the heavier hook hangers and stuff in them. Yep. So straight out of the packet. I mean, you're still going to be able to catch a Barra straight out of the packet, but you, as fishermen, Barra fishermen, we modify a lot of things. So you can upgrade the hooks on that and they handle it, no worries at all.
That's good to know. This one here, interested in this fella here. This is obviously a bait which is designed to swim through the weed because it's got its own little sheath, I suppose, with a hook at the top.
Yep.
And when you're rolling stuff through the weed, like when I'm frogging through the weed, often that hook, if it just pops loose a little bit, catches it. So this solves that problem, doesn't it? What's it called?
This is the claw trap from this is their Fang Ops, part of their from Duo. So it's a Fang Ops bloody claw trap, they call it. So
and makes a funny. That's the hook that makes that noise when I'm.
Yeah. But have a look at this. Like as a Barra bait, have a look at that for a hook.
Yeah, that's a proper one, isn't it? You're never going to bend it.
No, no. When you get that in there,
It stays in.
It's staying in. So,
Yep.
and they got a really cool little action on them. And like you said, you can wind them through anything.
Yep.
Like thickest of thick timber, and being a TPE material, so they're that's stretchy stuff again.
Buoyant.
So when they sit down on the bottom, this stuff, it's always fishing.
Yeah.
So, and the easiest way, if like I think they're ½ ounce from startup. If you want to make them heavier, a ball sinker on the loop knot, and you can just get them down to depth whatever you want.
Then you can pretend it's a deep dive and swim bait.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, that's going to be a real cool little option, I think, in the dams this year. This is another one that we're pretty excited about.
This was called Secret Weapon, wasn't it?
Last year.
And dead set sticks.
They're scented.
What's got on that? What's that?
I don't know. I don't know what they call them. I think it's like a prawn imprinted scent, but they do smell.
It says it's a wake bait, a booster wake there by Realis. Take us through the theory.
So this is just your normal paddle tail sort of style plastic, but with all the bits and pieces to rig it up weedless.
Yep.
The little groove in the back here gives it that extra tail wobble, and you can work them so slow.
Right. So they have that action at real so split. So
Really
rod tip
slow,
up, across the top of the weed.
Yeah.
And available in some pretty cool colours.
Yeah, there's I think there's 10 colours, and they will be in stores in about a week's time.
Okay, so they are going to be, about the time this goes to air, they'll be in there.
Yeah.
Just follow your nose to the plastic section, because I don't even know what that smells like.
So they're a PVC plastic, so they're not your 10X stuff or anything like that. But called Secret Weapon last year, and they worked really well. So really cool.
Cool. Mustard, these are a mustard hook, I assume. Yep, they're a brand that supported the BARRA Tour for many a year now, and a lot of guys like using them. 4X strong seems like about the minimum that us BARRA guys need.
Yeah, so with this is the new jaw lock system. So they've got a finish on them that they call it a 500 times finish. So it's pretty much, it's not going to rust. In salt water, it's not going to rust. In fresh water, it's never going to rust.
Yep.
And they've got this process where they can, you've got your ultra point system that Mustard have. Now they've got this new technology where they've actually been able to make it sharper and stronger.
Right.
So, but in this range, there's a 3X, there's a 4X, and then there's a 5X. So you got it all covered, especially for when you're upgrading hooks like this.
You don't necessarily want the heaviest hook, you want the strongest, sharpest.
Yep. So I've found with these, I've been using the 3X, and it works a treat. And the BARRA don't seem to bend them out very easily at all.
How long till the jaw locks are in tackle stores?
They're here. They're
here already.
Yep, they're already in shops.
Get stocking up for BARRA Tour.
Yep, and there's plenty to choose from in them. Couple more new lures from Duo. This is the deep feet. So this is like that 80mm jerkbait sort of style.
Yep.
Not as heavy duty as the fang bait, but a little bit more finesse. You know what I mean? So, and there's some really cool colours available in them as well.
Yep. What's been the most popular BARRA bait in the Duo range to date? Has it been that 100mm jerkbait?
Yeah, for sure. There's a few of the like the 100 100mm jerk baits and stuff like that have been really popular too. Not a deep diver, but a shallow diving one, especially for places like Faust and stuff like that, where you get a lot of those gar fish like up in the weed. These guys have been in amongst all the trees and stuff like that. They've been working really good too. Had a few guys that have. So look at that one. Looks like a garfish.
Yeah, indeed. And look, it's really a bit of a lost technique in ABT events. In the early days at Awonga, I remember guys rolling shallow diving minnows over the top of weed beds, catching plenty of big fish, especially after dark. Just that big long cast and a slow roll of a shallow jerkbait. There was a few old baits that were great at it, and I think this one, you don't want them diving too deep. Go about a foot and a half deep, and someone will revive that technique one day and win themselves a BARRA trophy, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, Peter Price does a fair bit of that, and he does usually pretty good in the
sneaky little guy, Pete.
Yeah.
You know where Pete is, because there's always a BARRA jumper near him.
Yeah,
on the end of his line.
Yes, usually.
Yeah.
So, also a couple of rods that we've
bring them all up on the table here, Dico. I want to see what's going on.
A couple of bone rods and a couple of venom rods. So.
Now, Venom, of course, sponsor of the BARRA Australian Open, and everyone who ends up at the top of the field ends up with some Venoms, and I see them on their boats. They actually love fishing them down the track.
Definitely.
So, made right here in Brisbane.
Right through that door there.
That's what that noise is we can hear. The rod department making noise. But take us through the new models.
So this is a couple of our target rods. So, off the live scope and stuff like that. We've had a bit of a chat to a few of the boys that are really good at that. So we've just got there. So we've just slightly modified some of our blanks, and they didn't want a too long a rod and they didn't want a too short a rod. So we've gone for that 6'5", made the butt length so you can do that undercast for flicking plastics and stuff like that. I mean, you flick hard bodies and stuff like that off your live scope, but these were designed around plastics and things like that.
These were designed by guys that are good at it though. So I try to catch every single fish that I see on there. But what I do notice is this is very light in the hand for its strength. Yeah. Like that'll handle any barra we see on tour.
Definitely.
And it must only weigh like 150 grams.
Yeah, I think it's 162.
Yep. So they weigh nothing, and that's what if you're standing at the front of your boat all day with the rod in hand, you want to be ready to go when it comes to the cast.
That was the whole idea of it. When we were talking to the guys, they just wanted something that they can just, because these days on the live scope, you're not even looking where you're casting it.
Yeah.
You're looking at your screen.
That's right.
And and you just want.
And the gun's already cocked, ready to go the whole time.
You're ready to go. So there's three models. There's a 1, a 2, and a 3. So the 1 being like perfect for these sort of things, like nice and tippy, got a bit of forgiveness in the rod so you don't pull hooks. Next one's up for like this style plastic and bigger, probably up to like that, 130 mil plastics and stuff like that. And then we've got a bigger one that's like for
proper size
guides. For throwing those sort of things and bigger plastics like your 7-inch flat shads and stuff like that. So no, they're cool. They're at that. They're not too long. They're not too short. People seem to like that length.
Anything made by guys that do this all the time and are good at it, it's got to be better than stuff that's off the rack. Designed for something else.
Yeah, definitely. So.
Now, these are a good looking rod, the Bones. Like, I tell you what, he is always sharp. Bone, isn't he? Like, he cares about how his stuff looks, how he looks, and these things look like they're about to grow a shark fin and swim off.
So these are his Dragos, the Bone Dragos. So full carbon butts. Made of everything on that rod has got the highest quality of carbon you can buy.
And they are lighter than the targets.
They are, They're all made out of Toray cloth. Got every componentry, full silicon guides. Everything's just too precise.
I've always been intrigued by the logo, Bone. It's called the beginning of the never ending, and I thought that's some real good English. Right there.
That's Bone for you.
That's it.
Yeah.
The beginning of the never ending always seems to be something that's going to spin itself in a circle and never answer itself that question. So, but hey, I remember it.
Yeah.
They're good looking rods, and I bet you they turned some heads at AFTA.
They did, mate. They turned a lot of heads, a lot of interest. There's about 5 in the range, so some really nice ones for the bass guys and stuff like that as well. But I just grabbed a couple of the BARRA sort of style. And down the track, we're gonna work with Bone and have like a dedicated Aussie series. Cool. Especially like it's all right. The guys that know how to tie FG knots and all that sort of stuff. But he does refine the guides a lot. Like brings them right down.
Yeah, to keep the weight down.
Yeah, keep the weight down. But down the track, we will do a set of Aussie spec ones. So for the guys like in the territory, a lot of the territory guys, they still like to tie a bloody.
If you don't tie lots, tie knots.
So no, not just that. It's North Queensland and stuff, but they still want a nice. Heavy, they want a nice feeling rod.
But a bit more diameter up top.
Yeah, they just want, so we're going to go with size 7s down to, I think, size 10. So, which would be good.
Cool.
So.
The only widow I see on the table here. What do we got here? I haven't even seen, that's the ATCs.
Yes.
Always a popular reel with the guides, and they dish out punishment on these things.
That's our new Vigilant 3000. Now, this little reel here, I've had the pleasure of testing this for about 12 months.
I.e. flogging the life out of it.
Flogging the life out. I've got one that I've been using, and during the Northern Territory BARRA trip this year, I would have caught probably 400 BARRA on that.
Still going.
Still going. And it's like I said, still one of the smoothest drag systems on any reel that I've used. And I've used all brands, but this thing, the drag system just so smooth. And they're made out of one piece. They're machined, CNC machined out one piece of aluminium, so they're built tough.
And retail price on these ones? The ATCs are pretty.
This is the next step up. Okay. So these are going to retail for around that $600 mark. And there's obviously 3,000, a 5,000, a 16,000. So we just this is our next revolution of reels. You know what I mean? So this thing with the other ones is with the other two sizes is just about, you can't kill it.
You don't want your old ones anymore now, do you? You want these ones.
Yeah.
But you can easily spend twice that on a reel.
You can.
Yeah.
No worries at all.
Yep.
A lot of people spend another $400 on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But mate, like I said, and I can't fault that reel at all.
You love it. So we'll see plenty of these on your deck in the BARRA Tour this year. Let's talk a little bit about the Xeric BARRA Tour. And, well, I suppose the Xeric BARRA Series, and it's specifically the 4-event BARRA Tour in the middle of it.
Yep.
I think I've worked out, well, let's face it, Nicole worked out, it was about seven weekends to go till we're up there competing on Lake Tinaroo, which is the start of the series. Yep. Always smaller numbers at that event because it's a long way away, but I have to be nearly my favourite one of the whole tour because the size of the fish and how easy they are to see on sonar.
Yeah. Well, there's nowhere to hide in that place.
Yep.
So they are. You can drive down along the bank, and if there's 4 showing on your side imaging,
that's it. They're there.
there.
That's right.
You know what I mean? There's no weed to. Well, there's not a lot of weed to hide in.
And then if you catch a 119 in Tinaroo, you're guaranteed not to win the big barra prize.
Yeah,
it's always got to be a 123, 126,
125.
125. It's got to be a big fish to win it there. The potential is there for a 130.
Yeah, it'd be good to see.
We want to see that one. And this year might be the year it happens. Now the weather gods tell me that the El Nino is coming again. It's going to be warm early. It's not going to rain as much this year. That is setting up prime for a lot of our barra lakes that like a real slow decline on the water levels that hardens up those weed edges. Yeah. Potentially this year's BARRA Tour and BARRA Series are going to be the fishiest yet.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. We got a few people really interested in coming, so it's I'm really looking forward to it. I look forward to it every year.
I know I've been fielding lots of inquiries from more Americans than Carl and Gussie this year. Put it that way.
Okay, yep.
So we're going to have a few. We're going to have a few across, it seems, and I wanted to mix it with the local guys. The guys at Camp Kangaroo are all prepped.
Yes, I spoke to them. I spoke to them the other day myself.
And Thomas has got the catering package sorted. Nicole's got the party under control. It's just up to the barra now to bring themselves along. And if it was anything like last year, everyone's going to have an epic time.
Oh, we'll have a good time anyway.
Yep.
So.
All right, my question to you is, let's throw some predictions out there. Biggest barra for the tour?
I will say...
And where at?
I will say 126 from Teamborough.
Cool. I'll give it 125 at Tinaroo. All right, we're going to come back and check these. Next, biggest limit. And remember last year, James and Team Anita Barra, they got a 97 kilo limit for 5 fish at Tinaroo. So lake and biggest limit.
I'll go Tinaroo.
It's got to be Tinaroo.
Tinaroo, 101.
101 this year. It's going to go up. Okay, awesome. And what lake are we going to see the smallest fish? Because last year, Kinchin, I think we had a 38 come in last year, or low 40s. Those things with the feed in that place, that'll be 50s by now. Is there going to be any smaller barra than we caught at Kinchin last year?
Yeah, and it'll come out of Proserpine.
My call is Teamborough, because they've just shoved about
yes,
80,000 little ones out. I reckon they're going to be this big by the tour, and you'll be winding in, it'll be peck, peck, peck.
The only reason why I said Peter Faust, because I was up there earlier this year, and we found lots of little ones like this.
Little nests of little ones.
Little ones. It was good to see. But then the next cast was like
oh well.
They'll probably eat them.
It's all good. We'll come back and we will revisit some of those predictions. It's setting up to be an epic tour. This is officially launching it. This show, we are officially launching the tour. The entries are out at the moment. We've got the entry list starting to fill up. Nicole's behind the camera there. What are our maximum entries? We've got about 10 for some events, have we? No, 15. All right, that was 15 teams for some of them. I'm thinking we're going to get more than 40 teams for a couple of events this year, and I know all of those lakes can handle it.
Yeah, no, definitely. How many did we have? We had 38.
38-ish last year. So bring on the North American invasion. Let's see if we can crack that mark. It's superhero, the theme for the party night this year. I know that it fits right in with your AFTA celebrations.
I need to get a different costume.
No, but anyway, we're looking forward to a great time. All of the information, of course, on abt.org.au. DK, thanks for Wilson's and yourself being great advocates for the Barra stuff.
No worries.
We're sorry we couldn't catch up with you after you're too bloody busy.
Yeah.
Hope we've made up for you now, and thanks for joining us on ABT Live.
No problem.
I'm Iron Man. No, wait a second. That's Batman, isn't it?
That's
I'm
this
Batman.
one.
I'm Batman.
Oh.
We got lots of suggestions for Dicko's party night costume, so Dicko, don't worry, you're sweet.
Everything from Catwoman we saw, Wonder Woman,
Or any
Iron
sort of
Man,
woman.
any sort of woman. It's a long BARRA tour. But I did pick a winner. Should we draw that one first?
Yep.
Alright, so score yourself a Xeric pack of barra lures. A winner for this one, he suggested Dicko go as Aquaman. I like this one just because of the effort Dicko would have to go through to
grow the beard.
pull this one off. Norman Forsyth wrote that one on Facebook, so congratulations, Norman.
Send us a message.
Send us a message with your address details and we can get that in the post to you tomorrow.
Cool. Well, we just launched the Barra Tour in that segment, so let's launch that sucker.
Let's talk events and where we're going and how it's all going to roll out, hey? So we've got a graphic here. Super excited. So I think we worked out it's only 6 weekends worth of sleeps before we head up to Lake Tinaroo, which is the furthest one can go for an ABT event. A nice casual drive from Brisbane, but it is 100% worth it. Huge fish at Lake Tinaroo. Got 2 events that happen there. That's the weekend. That's actually, it's now the King's birthday long weekend. That first weekend in October, and we will be going barra fishing. A 2-night event kicks it all off, and then we do an all-nighter on Lake Tinaroo and really take advantage of that dawn bite. You're a big fan of that dawn bite, Stephen?
Love it. And all you Cairns locals, don't let the out-of-towners take all the trophies home. Come and win them. It's like free money for a Cairns local. Get in there.
It's awesome. We love Tinaroo. Big sausage sizzle cook up after that all-nighter, hanging around the boat ramp and everyone telling tales of the one that got away. So then we take a little break. We'll head home, and that's when we'll be running our Bass and BREAM Grand Finals before the end of November wraps up our ABT year this time round. Heading up to Mackay for our 4-event Barra Tour part of the series, kicking off at Teemborough Dam and Kinchit Dam, 2 individual events there back to back, and then heading up to Camp Kanga for our Peter Faust big all-nighter, and then a 2-night event at Peter Faust as well. Having a chat to the guys at Camp Kanga today. If you are thinking of coming up and fishing, especially at Peter Faust, and you haven't sorted out your accommodation at Camp Kanga yet, I would be giving them a call ASAP.
How many rooms left?
I think it's about 10 or so rooms.
Out of 50.
More, nearly 60
Out of
rooms.
60 rooms, so they're running out.
Yeah, so I would get on the phone to those guys, Jim and Kathy, up at Camp Kanga.
And also maybe enter.
And yeah, some entries would be good too, because there's a lot more rooms booked
We've
than
got
entries.
40 rooms booked and we've got 16 teams, so obviously there's some entry forms coming in.
There are some entry forms coming in. So yes, I'd be sorting that out with the crew at Camp Kanga.
And remember, if you go into Camp Kanga, crazy if you don't get Thomas's catering package. He'll do all the cooking for you for 5 or 6 nights. Breakfast, lunch, dinner packs. I love that part of it. Don't have to wash up. Don't have to cook. We just have to do results and wind in barras. It's like, another meatery. Where's me sandwich? It's all fixed for you. Catch meateries, eat sandwiches, and someone else makes.
Yep. And if you're up early enough in the morning, has an awesome breakfast spread as well. A heap of interest coming from overseas. A lot of Americans are keen to come this year.
Cifuentes. Oh, sorry about that.
What was that? You're
Harry Klaus. Some guys I might have been talking to.
I think
Carl
and who's that guy that won a big trophy?
Gussie wants a reunion with his carton of 4X Golds.
He's got a score to settle, I think, with a few of the guys up on Barra Tour as well. So Gussie's keen to come back.
I've never published it on social media or anywhere, but at the presentation night at Faust, we're going to play Gussie's message he recorded just after winning the Bassmaster Classic, where he threw down the gauntlet to Pete and Benny. It's like, watch out, Pete and Benny, we're beeping to beep you.
No, not Gussie. He's a good boy.
Gussie on 10 gins after winning $313,000 can say whatever he wants.
So no, it's going to be awesome. I know some teams travelling far and wide, talking to the guys at Camp Kanga. A lot of guys from New South Wales are making the big trip up. It is the best week of fishing you'll have for the year, I reckon.
Cool.
So, do you want to wrap up this show? We've given away 2 prizes.
One prize.
One prize.
No, we've given away one
that
prize.
One? Where are you from? Where's that one from?
That was Brian Bochow from Old Bar in New South Wales. He was watching on YouTube. So get in touch with us, Brian. Let us know an address to send out your atomic pack. And then the Crush City pack, we'll be sending a few packs of these new release plastics from the crew at Rapala to Evan Matthews. He told us the next one they should be doing is the Crush City Crusader. We both had a good name at that one. So Crush City Crusader, Evan Matthews, watching on Facebook. Again, shoot us a message with your address details and we can get that prize out to you tomorrow.
And just quietly, Evan, if you've got a design for that lure as well, Mick and Mitch are probably pretty happy to know that. Just name, design, might get a royalty, might get a free pack of plastics
the
after
colours.
that. Yeah, colours, bestsellers, you know, just asking for a mate.
No, they've been very busy in the Rapala office since the launch of the Crush City Plastics.
All right, well, let's wind this baby up. I've been driving boats around all day and I want to go and pat my power pole move electric motor.
Just going to stare at it.
I'm just going to cuddle it.
We will be coming to you next from the Hunter Valley. We'll be heading down. We've got the Eco Gear sponsored Hunter River Round. First time we're going to that venue. I think it's going to be pretty cool to see what the guys work out and what bass we see come through the scoreboards on that one. It's all run on the app, that River Round.
Yep,
so
live scoreboards for that.
Live scoreboards all weekend. And then we head to St. Clair for the TTs round. So we've got a selection of the new lures out from TTs.
Yeah, that you saw in that segment.
You saw in that segment. We've got probably that many again, and the guys, Andrew and Justin, the team at TT, said do not bring them back. So anglers heading down to St. Clair for that event. We've got some goodies as well. Some of you might score.
Reckon the criteria that is whoever brings the best cocktail gets the best lures.
I think it has to involve Keegan, some sort of...
Oh, yeah, no, whoever wakes up Keegan at the earliest time of the morning. That might be the best one. Okay, either one will be funny, I think. So.
Keegan Payne at Ernie's, TT's Spono.
But we've got our ABT Starlink now, so you'll be able to watch the weigh-ins from that event live from the shores of Lake St. Clair, something that we've never been able to do before.
We still don't know if we can do it, but
Starlink
it's
will work.
the plan.
Elon can't screw anything up. He did a good job with Twitter, so...
But yes, that is where we'll be next. We might see you on the road, see you at an event, getting ready for grand final time.
Good show, Nicole. You crushed it.
Bye.